Hemi is like an ogre. They have layers, exactly.
We've got our foothold. Fifth Fleet, all forward. I don't want a single Cerberus ship in my sky when we're through.
Shepard, I should accompany you on this mission.
Why?
This
Why,
is the central
Edie?
point
How
of
dare you?
operations for Cerberus.
So
It
aggressive.
will have enhanced security measures. With my knowledge of Cerberus algorithms and this body's updated protocols, I offer the best chance to help you succeed.
I don't know why
Grab your gear.
Shepard was so vehemently opposed to that initially. Alright, so, as Edie just said, she is a required squad member for this mission. So, she, of course, it's been a while since we've used her. So, she has, as a reminder, Incinerate, Overload, Defense Matrix, Decoy, and Unshackled AI, her passive. So, she's basically an engineer, and if we're attacking the Cerberus base, we're probably expecting to run into a bunch of Cerberus enemies, right? Which tends to mean primarily shields will be the key defensive layer we're dealing with here. So that means Overload in particular is going to be very useful. I mean, if we're going to run into what Atlases and I suppose turrets are the only armored, I was going to say Dragoon. The only armored Cerberus enemies, although Dragoons are actually only in the arena and only in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. So, no, it is just Atlases and turrets. So that's probably not going to be as relevant. Defense Matrix, just for the passive defense, is fine. Decoy, there may be one or two specific use cases where that could be quite useful for us. So, I mean, obviously, she's no Garrus in terms of weapons damage, but she does still provide some skills that should be useful if we're expecting to run into a bunch of Cerberus people here. Alternatively, for more anti-shield, anti-Cerberus based stuff, Tally's not a terrible option because she does have, in the way of anti-shield abilities, a lot of that with things like her energy drain. Her drones can help stun enemies, which I don't remember how effective that is against things like phantoms. But sabotage obviously only works on synthetics, but does work for Atlases and does work for turrets, and those are two really useful things to sabotage, even the shield generators that Cerberus sometimes uses. So you could justify Tally. Liara, basically the same skill set that we're bringing, a whole bunch of biotics, so probably tougher to justify bringing her with one exception, because biotics against shielded enemies most of the time does not work until you remove those shields, which, because Cerberus has so many shielded enemies, it's going to make matters difficult. That one exception being, and it is an important exception, phantoms, because you can still stasis them, and stasising phantoms is one of the best ways to deal with them. So that is arguably, in fact, very strong argument for saying that is reason enough to bring Liara. But given how, at least on this difficulty, on Insanity, having Edie be someone who is providing a lot of powers but does not have much in the way of weapons damage, we are an adept. We are also providing a lot of powers but not a lot of weapons damage. Would very much like to have somebody who at least has one solid weapon category to work with here, whereas Liara is, of course, stuck with SMGs and pistols. We've upgraded and picked up more solid pistols and SMGs, so we could still make that work, but I'm thinking we probably want to have somebody who has access to some of the big stuff like assault rifles, shotguns, maybe sniper rifles as well. Javik, similar story to Liara, just doesn't have stasis, so doesn't have a fantastic anti-phantom ability, other than Dark Channel does deal good damage to them, because that does work against barriered enemies, but no great crowd control, or at least nothing that is nearly as good as stasis when it comes to crowd control against phantoms or other Cerberus enemies. So for that reason, Javik may be a bit of a harder one to justify. He does have more weapons damage than Liara and does have access to assault rifles, so that's one benefit that he does still have over her. James, obviously in terms of weapons damage, he can be up there as well. So you're just looking to go for that, then that works. The incendiary ammo, extra damage against armor and health, and yes, that is occasionally going to be relevant, but again, most, or at least many of the more difficult enemies have either barriers, in the case of phantoms, or for basically all the other powerful enemies, shields. So the fortification helps them stay alive. Frag grenade, just for basic damage, not bad. Carnage, we haven't upgraded all that much, but is again, ideally, something you use against armor, so he's just not the best matchup for James. Ashley, you could actually make a pretty strong case for, at least from a weapons damage standpoint. She is arguably at, if not exceeds, the amount of weapons damage that Garrus has, given how she has the same passives and still has Marksman, which Garrus does not have. So, other than that, the Disruptor ammo does give extra damage to shields, and so that is more intriguing than, say, James's incendiary ammo, because it's just going to give you the extra damage against more of the enemies that you're encountering here. The concussive shot plus Inferno Grenade, that's a little bit of crowd control. It's obviously not Ashley's biggest strength, but it gives her other options and does mean that Inferno Grenade does well against armor. So you have the ammo for shields, you have the Inferno Grenade for armor, so you do kind of have something that works for every situation. Just a little light on the crowd control, but as I was saying before, we may not want to do anything too crazy here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Garrus, I mean, he also doesn't have great crowd control. That is really his biggest weakness. He does have concussive shot, but we haven't upgraded it all that much. And he has overload, which helps deal with shields. I think we expect it to possibly only hit one, maybe two enemies. So again, crowd control not great, but obviously weapons damage is amazing. So that is a really big help. So I'm thinking we are probably still going to take Garrus as our second person, because most importantly, he covers for the lack of weapons damage that we have from Edie and from ourselves as an adept that is not looking to carry heavy weapons either. So I think we go with these two. And in terms of our weapons here, I suppose one thing we could have done on the Citadel, if we really wanted to before we reached this point of no return, would have been to just go to the shooting range and check out some of the new weapons that we've purchased. Not that that's something that is totally urgent, but as you see here, we still have some new ones that we've not yet tried out, but I think we're looking to keep things the same for Shepard for sure, with Acolyte for dealing with those shields, which will be particularly important against Cerberus, where there's a lot of shielded enemies. Hurricane for dealing damage in bursts. Do we want this set of mods on it for the piercing? Yeah, I suppose we keep the piercing as well. Again, technically not the best in terms of pure damage per second, but because we can't pierce at all with the Acolyte, it at least gives us a way to shoot through light cover or Guardian shields, for example. So I think we'll still stick with that. Then for Edie, though, we have picked up some new pistols and some new SMGs. Hurricane is still one of, if not arguably, probably the consensus, #1 SMG, so we're probably going to keep that. So what is the new one that we've recently acquired? We've upgraded the Hornet recently, but I still think that's probably not quite as good of a fit. And it's the Blood Pack Punisher, which we've not upgraded, is our new addition, as is the Get Plasma SMG, which is also not a weapon that is particularly great. So, alright, it's better than it's worse than the Punisher. Punisher, when upgraded, can be half decent, but Get Plasma SMG, I think I might have said it when we picked it up, but it is, in my personal opinion, one of the single worst weapons in the game, at least in terms of direct damage. It can do some priming for combos, but outside of that, not a huge fan. So we'll definitely stick with Hurricane there. The pistol slot, though, we could potentially switch up the Scorpion. It's slow, but it does deal damage in big bursts. It does stagger, which, if we're thinking we're going to run into Phantoms, would be useful, because staggering / finding whatever ways to crowd control Phantoms you can is one of the best ways to make sure that they don't slice and dice you to bits and pieces. So against Cerberus, maybe Scorpion's not a terrible idea, although against Guardians it's gonna be a little bit of an issue. Alternatively, we have Paladin could be a decent source of just pure damage, as could the Eagle. This is like... I mean, it's the closest thing you get to an assault rifle in pistol form, so make a case that if one of EDI's greatest weaknesses is her lack of weapons damage, and you'd like to have something like an assault rifle, then maybe that's how you make it happen. Talon is like a shotgun pistol, which also, after having upgraded that, that hits hard. You can certainly justify that. Arc pistol, just squad mates don't use it very well, same with the suppressor. Acolyte, no thanks. Executioner, it's a little questionable. This is one where it would have been kind of interesting to test this one out on a squad mate in their arena just to see how well they make use of it, because it has an extra headshot multiplier, but squad mates tend not to make a point of shooting for the head, so it has high base damage. And the question is, is that reason enough to take it when it is a very slow firing, very slow to reload weapon, and it only has one ammo in each clip, so you're reloading a lot. Even if they have unlimited ammo, they still need to reload. So, for that reason, I think this is not the right time to be experimenting with that. I think maybe we do stick with the Scorpion. Maybe we do. Over time, I've found myself not the biggest fan of the Scorpion, but given the crowd control opportunities that this gives us, where that might otherwise be a bit of an issue, I think it does make some sense.
Joker, what's our status?
We've got a foothold, but it's not much, Commander. A lot of fighters guarding the launch base.
Can you get us in?
Hey, I got us to Ilos. I can do this. It might be a bumpy ride, though.
Do what you can.
Us the collector base as well.
Shepard,
Arguably
I am ready.
even more difficult.
Wait, what? Are you crazy? You can't go to Cerberus headquarters. They could have a virus or a kill switch or...
I will be fine, Jeff.
Head to the shuttle, Edie.
Fifth Fleet's cut through their line. They're regrouping. Now's as good a time as any.
I mean, you saw right there, Joker getting concerned for Edie, and they have built a relationship. Despite one being a human and one being a robot, of course. We've watched them grow together, learn to understand their differences, and really thrive despite those differences, and hence why it's not that surprising to see that Joker is expressing some serious concern with Edie volunteering to go in here. And I mean, I suppose he may be right that given how Edie was created initially by Cerberus, there's, I suppose, a chance that maybe Cerberus has some kind of fail-safe, some kind of backup plan where if Edie had gone rogue, they could have shut her off or something like that. I mean, then again, Edie insisted, and she would know best about what Cerberus does and does not have set up there, so in terms of promoting the safety of the rest of the squad, Edie is, I suppose, by that metric, the best squad mate to have with us.
I know it hurts, not being able to go with her.
Yeah, it sucks. Thanks for bringing that up. Hey, Shepard. Keep her safe.
Same to you.
Hello, how's it going? Shh, I bet they didn't notice us. Except they definitely noticed us. Okay, so here we are. Ooh, Edie does not have her defense matrix on. I suppose we should probably activate that. We should also make sure that Garrus activates his ammo here. Okay, so we have several things going on here. A bunch of enemies showed up on our minimap. We have spaceships. which appear to be charging up and getting ready to go. We have 2 sources of overload, which is a nice way to deal with enemy shields. But let's see if we can get a better sense as to what we're going to be going up against here. Cerberus does have a lot of smoke clouds, a lot of smoke grenades they like to throw, so we might be running into a whole lot of those here. But why don't we start making some moves here? And also kind of intrigued by singularitying you. And you may already be dead. There was a Centurion over there. I'm not sure if there's still a Centurion over there. Centurion here through the smoke cloud. Oh, there's an Atlas coming through that way. So that is, oh, and that's a grenade.
Heads up, Shepard!
Now we can see that this went down all the way over here. Thought that there was a wall we're gonna run into, but the Atlas is of course now the biggest enemy here. So the guy still has shields at the moment, but if we can remove those shields, it can get singularity. Also, you are now shieldless, so we're gonna move the singularity over to you instead. That sounds a lot like a grenade right on top of us. Apparently, it was not directly on top of us. Thankfully, I did not see where it was. That could have been a big problem. How close is the Atlas? It is getting closer. This guy is still hiding here and is making life a little bit difficult for us. We might need to do something about this Atlas. There we go. Now you're at least making moves. And right when we try to poke our head out to deal with that Centurion, the Atlas fires a rocket at us. We luckily duck back into cover quickly enough to avoid actually taking any damage from it. I think Garrus is shooting at it right now, though. And interestingly enough, or at least importantly, in this instance, squad mates are unaffected by the smoke that Cerberus throws around here. So Garrus is unaffected, and therefore still capable of shooting this Atlas through the smoke. Just it can be a little bit hard to target the Atlas, because we do need to see it in order to direct our squad mates to focus on it. But it looks like it just went down. And that, in theory, one would assume was the most powerful enemy here. But there is a basic trooper. I mean, no shields, no problem. Because we can just singularity you right off the bat. Garrus has better line of sight on things, for sure. There's a Centurion over there. Ooh. I'm not sure what that was that hit us, actually. I think there are nemesis. You can hear the little sound effects from them. They chatter a little bit between themselves, and they have that little lens flare type sound when they're trying to aim at you. And so, like, is that one all the way up there? It might be. Or looking at our mini-map, we're seeing there's an enemy in that direction. I mean, that might be far enough away that it's just not showing up underneath. Yeah, there's definitely movement up there. That is absolutely a nemesis. It's not close enough for us to target, but I'm certain. Yeah, there you can see it's trying to shoot at Garrus. There's still, I think it's a Centurion, perhaps, or maybe a basic trooper down here. Is the one that we are still seeing. I'd like to get a clean angle to advance on it without getting annihilated by the nemesis. Okay, what is it? It's a Centurion. Okay, down you go. There is still the nemesis over there. And those ships that fly through actually can damage you. So that, I don't think that's what damaged us when we poked our head out previously. I imagine it was still this nemesis, but it's maybe the last enemy remaining. Are there maybe other ones hiding elsewhere? Edie is trying to shoot it, which is admirable, but the Hurricane is not exactly the most accurate weapon from long range, so that is something that Garrus would definitely be better at doing, either with the Typhoon or, obviously, Javelin is Sniper, so that's more accurate still, but okay. That seems to have been the last of them.
Security breach in Hangar 16. Initiating Achilles protocol.
That doesn't sound good.
Shepard, Cerberus intends to vent the hangar bay.
That sounds like we're in the hangar bay, and we probably want to not be here right now.
I need an active console. Try the upper level.
Okay. sounds like we need to get up there. How do we get out of here? Can't go through here.
Hangar 16 secured. Engaging Achilles protocol.
That doesn't sound good. The ladder leading us up.
Shepard, we need to find a console and stop Cerberus from venting the hangar.
Yes, I'm trying to find the way up. Looking for a ladder. Is a ladder there, but that doesn't look like that goes all the way down. There's a ladder there. It may go all the way down. Yes. I think this is what we're looking for.
Shepard, we're almost out of time. Find a console before Cerberus vents the hangar.
Yes, and this is truthfully timed.
EDI, I've got a console. Go!
Hangar
That is
vent
time.
procedure.
You do need to get there quickly enough.
Disabled.
Okay. Whew.
Can you open the hangar?
No. However, I can access their fighter launch controls.
Okay.
Shepard, Cerberus is aware that the venting attempt failed. Reinforcements are inbound.
Lovely. Oh. Very, very lovely, as we are immediately seeing that there are some friends that appear to be showing up here to pay us a little bit of a visit. So yeah, once you defeat the last enemy in that initial wave of enemies that arrive when you first spawn in there, that is when your timer starts. And so you obviously need to make it up to here in time, otherwise it is just an automatic mission failure. So that's why it is kind of important to get up here quickly. Let's see, we have what looks like 2 basic troopers and a guardian. So Garrus in theory can shoot through that guardian shield, but why don't we try to deal with the, I guess we could have done hole, try to take care of all of them, but singularity worked too, I'd venture to say. Is there anything back here? I don't think we fired our weapon at all, so it's not like we even need ammo or grenades or anything. So we should still be fine. And this is, I mean, from what we understand, the Cerberus headquarters for the entire organization, which obviously, after seeing all that Cerberus was able to do, in Mass Effect 1, we saw a whole lot of their research experiments that went wrong almost every single time. So they didn't exactly give off the most impressive first impression. But in Mass Effect 2, they obviously brought us back to life, and they had seemingly what felt like unlimited resources. And now in Mass Effect 3,
Another Cerberus
they've created
team is inbound.
basically an entire army.
They figured out what we're doing.
They're not stopping us now.
And now, this is where they're all coming from. So we have Centurion. I would appreciate if you'd use the ability that I told you I would like you to use approximately like 10 seconds ago. That grenade may hit EDI, but it will not hit us. Also, the smoke cloud is going to make this rather difficult to target anything. That's just really can't see anything right now. There we go. Okay, that's a guardian. Let's pull off the shield then. Help out our friends a bit. And we'll just casually singularity Garrus while we're at it. You might even be in the singularity if you get rid of your shields, and yes, that was the case. Just that also that grenade is definitely gonna hit you. And Garrus as well. You know, couldn't actually target them because we couldn't actually see them when they're in the smoke. But again, Garrus is unaffected by the smoke. We need to get out of here now, though. Still a nemesis up there. Garrus is taken care of. Okay. So yeah, we are definitely benefiting from our squad mates being able to see through that smoke, because otherwise, I mean, we would just be blindly chucking warps and singularities and throws and shock waves and what have you, and I mean, we can blind fire the Hurricane to a certain extent, but from that kind of range, it would not have proven very effective, I don't think. And Acolyte, I mean, it does technically have some AoE, but even then, probably not going to be all that successful with that. Can we climb up here as well, out of curiosity? Oh, we can't get up there? Darn. It is a cool spot, though. And understandable why the Nemesis chose to go there. The Garrus, it was just to see. Okay, so yes, obviously, I think we're going to want to save frequently here, because this is a pretty big mission, and we could find ourselves running into some quite difficult encounters every now and again, I think. No enemies greeting us this time, though. What do we have here? Medical station. We actually don't need the Metagel right now, because we haven't used any yet, so I don't know if we're ever going to be able to double back here, but on the off chance that we can, then perhaps it's worth keeping that uncollected. So, rotation controls, looks like we need to use those.
Overriding safeties. The fighter should now launch toward the hangar door.
Oh!
Perfect. Let's get down there.
Okay. That sounds useful. Do we go down the way we just came from, or do we go through this way? Escape the hangar. Any other buttons to press around here? And this over there is where one of the Nemesis was sniping us from when we were down below, and this is... There might have been one over here as well. Garrus might have just taken it out without us realizing at the time. This ladder, I think, we found did not go all the way down. It does not, so we can't go down that way. But, yeah, this would also be a good sniping location. Oh! Looked like this was just going to be a total dead end. But there's a PDA here. With 5,000 credits, okay. Or ammo that we don't really need. So it looks like, yeah, we're just looking to go back down the way we came up initially. Since it does not appear as though there's any way down from over there, that's just a way to get a little more monies. Okay, any enemies this time around? Who's that just chilling up there? Hasn't joined us. Garrus is with us. Edie, get with the program. He says to the robot. You poke the spaceship? Supposedly it's gonna break through this hangar for us. Okay, Edie's down here now. But, do we need to press the button over at that other panel that I just paid no attention to before? Or can we go over here now? I was certainly left with the impression that this was going to get launched and actually blast through. Which, perhaps we needed to do up there. Perhaps the way we initiate that is still upstairs, where we just were. But let's just take a second to make sure I'm not missing something blatantly obvious here. Like, say, this clamp release, which is probably what we're looking for. I mean, is there anything else over here while we're at it? We can go up here? Huh. Thought we saw that this was not connected previously. Well, now Garrus is going up it, so we can't go down ourselves. But okay, I suppose that would have been a quicker way up and down. But yeah, any, like, loots or other quest-based things here? I don't think so, but let's see if there's any icons popping up. Doesn't look like it. Okay, let's get to it then. Let's get to it then. Okay. Bada boom? Question mark?
Launching fighter.
Indeed. Bada boom.
Impressive.
The central lab was located behind this hangar. I suggest we follow the fighter's path.
Noted. Let's move.
Oh. Well, that's not good.
Intruder alert.
Is it just me, or did that voice sound a whole lot like Trainer? Excuse me, Trainer. You've been working for Cerberus this whole time? I certainly hope not. Okay, so we have what, at least at the moment, looks to be a single Atlas. So, I mean, I think we're fine. We're fine just dealing with that.
Personnel prepare for security lockdown.
Unless these other assault troopers are gonna complicate matters a bit.
Repeat. Hostile forces. This has
Or we'll just casually send you crashing into the roof.
perimeter.
You,
All units respond.
I would also like to stop you from doing things.
Lock all terminals and destroy all data below classification level epsilon.
I'm getting a feeling these Cerberus troopers may spawn indefinitely. And we may just need to take out this Atlas as quickly as possible. Kinda getting that feeling. Oh, no, maybe not. Doesn't seem like they're spawning in anymore. Shepard, please stay in cover, though. It's over there somewhere in the smoke cloud. Let's see if we can hit it with a random throw. I have missed, but I think we kind of sort of saw it. There we go. There's still something over there. Is that just... No, that's our singularity expiring. Okay. So we can still hit it if we know / can guess where it is in the smoke, and it's almost dead. It is dead.
That was the last Cerberus team in this area.
We've
Okay.
broken their front rank. Now we can cause some real damage.
Nice. That's what I like to hear. Oh, and tell you what. We could have hopped into one of these empty atlases and used this to deal a little bit more damage. It wasn't really necessary, because I think what would have happened was the assault troopers that were up there that we singularity'd and just got rid of right off the bat, they probably were trying to hop down, because it looked like that's what they were looking to do, jump over that banister there, and they do have some jetpack boots, so it's not like they were just, you know, come crashing down on the ground and go splat. But they were probably looking to hop into this Atlas that we just occupied and another Atlas over there. And if we were fighting 3 Atlases at once, suddenly, yeah, that becomes a lot trickier than fighting just 1 Atlas and a few assault troopers. So that's probably a good thing that we made a point of preventing them from getting all the way down here. I assume we can't continue to progress with this thing, though.
Talk to me. I'm hearing reports that they breached the door with heavy weapons.
Negative. They rigged a fighter. Damn thing tore through half the facility. Finally stopped not far from Central.
Shut the hostiles down before they reach the central lab.
Can we do this? I don't think we can do this with the Atlas. I do not think we're allowed to jump in here with the Atlas. We may need to leave the Atlas. Sad face. Opportunity... Ugh. Opportunity missed, I'm afraid. Oh, that's the melee button. I would like to leave the Atlas, please. I would like to leave the Atlas, please. There we go. We'll just leave you right there. And I think it's probably worth saving again, fairly frequently here. There's something on the ground, an M37 Falcon, which is a new weapon. It's an assault rifle. It is. We are getting this very late in the game. So it is an assault rifle that is kind of similar to the Striker, is probably the closest comparison I could make, in that it shoots explosive projectiles. The Striker, I think, is more so... It at least behaves more like a bullet that explodes on impact, whereas the Falcon, I think, is more like it is actually shooting mini grenades that will... I think they still detonate if they shoot and hit directly, but they can bounce a little bit on the ground before landing near an enemy, and so there can be a little more variance accuracy-wise for that reason. But in terms of the actual stats and what have you and use cases for it, the damage is okay. Not the best. I mean, it's not Typhoon territory by any means, but it's very good at priming with ammo to set up for combos of various varieties, and its probably most distinguished or most important factor is that it has a ton of stagger. It fires fairly slowly, so I hesitate to say that it stun locks enemies, but maybe with someone like Ashley increasing the rate of fire with marksman, it might start to get close to doing that. So for that reason, it is one of the best crowd control weapons. And seeing as how that is something we were just saying not that long ago, our current squad setup is a little bit lacking on. We would be sacrificing a fair bit of damage if we were to use this instead of the Typhoon, especially because we've upgraded the Typhoon up to rank 5, whereas this would obviously just be rank 1 because we just picked it up. But you could arguably still make a case for it. You could still make a case for it. There are people who are a big fan of this weapon. I personally don't like it that much because I prefer the Striker to it, but I think I'm in the minority opinion there. So it's, by some people would say this is one of the best assault rifles in the game. I wouldn't quite put it in that category, but it certainly has its use cases. So I think we'll pass on it for now, but it is definitely a nice pickup, and if we had picked it up previously and had the chance to upgrade it, then it might have been a different story.
Edie, can you get past?
One moment. Cerberus has updated their encryption. There may be a slight delay as I bypass security.
Okay, so good thing that we brought Edie with us in that case, and she's already saved our butts on at least one occasion where they were trying to vent this hangar, and if not for her, we probably would have gotten, I don't know what, thrown out the airlock? Is that what the end result might have been? Obviously, that's not good, or whatever else they might have been planning to do to us. We avoided that, thankfully. But, okay, so, what are they doing now?
How's Cerberus reacting to us breaching the door?
They are sealing off as much of the base as they can. Most obvious routes to the central lab are blocked. Other areas are being fortified. Heavy troopers will attempt to delay us while engineers set up turrets.
Oh, that's
Any
not good.
more surprises like venting the hangar?
No, I am aware of this facility's safeguards and can counteract them. Cerberus can merely slow us down.
Nice. All they can do is slow us down, but they cannot stop us. That's what I want to hear. And that is why we're glad you're here.
And if I hadn't brought you along,
Cerberus would have vented the hangar.
thanks
Exactly.
for coming.
I am pleased to assist. We must proceed through a sub-level to avoid Cerberus containment measures.
Oh,
Where do you think we'll find the Prothean VI?
A central lab at the heart of this facility. It is the most secure area. Following the destruction left by the fighter will offer the most direct route.
okay. Well, it did certainly cause quite a bit of destruction. But, I mean, then again, it is Cerberus, so you could certainly make the case that they deserved it. Also, I like the fire warning over here, which is actually on the opposite side from the fire, naturally. Oh, we have a second of downtime. Just make sure everyone has, specifically Garrus, has his ammo activated on both weapons in case we do find ourselves in need of switching over to the Javelin at any point.
You got it.
But I think Typhoon is probably still going to be what we want him to have as his default weapon, if you will. So, okay. Let us proceed, then. Oh. I hear enemies. I see a lot of smoke. And remember that Edie said engineers and turrets, and that can be a nasty combo. So, let's singularity these guys. Excuse me. Where did the heck happened to our singularity? That guy is, yes, throwing a grenade that has bounced off the wall and missed. I love it. He hit the roof. He hit the ceiling with his grenade throw. It bounced back over there. So it was going to be a problem because it would have meant that we would have to have gone out of this cover here. Ooh, you went flying. We have to throw you. Let's see how far we can send you flying. Alright, and now it's getting harder to see enemies. That's another grenade thrown in Edie's direction, but I think it might have just fallen down. No, it was over there. Okay, I thought it fell through the cracks for a second, then it was, again, going to end up doing nothing, but not quite that fortunate this time. Garrus, yes, you do have a lot of cover penetration with your Typhoon. It starts with 1 meter, and you have the armor-piercing ammo that gives you even more armor-piercing / cover-piercing, but you are shooting directly at a wall right now, so I can't help but feel like that is probably not the preferable way of approaching the situation. So what if you move into a more aggressive position along the lines where Edie is? I mean, it looks like there's some cover here, although kind of hard to tell exactly from this angle if you have a line of sight on enemies. Speaking of line of sight, we don't really have that either. Okay. Ooh, that's a nemesis trying to snipe us. That was the sound effect and little sight, or laser sight. I didn't see exactly where she is. I mean, presumably she's this red dot. Sometimes the nemesis are hanging out on an elevated platform somewhere, so I wouldn't necessarily rule out that she might be up there, but a more straightforward answer would of course be that she's just hanging out behind some of this cover. And then again, if Edie just charges forward Leroy Jenkins style, then I suppose that may attract some attention. So alright, I suppose, Garrus, might as well move up ourselves as well. I did not really mean to do that, but there she is. Okay. Also, it does feel like there would be a ton of opportunities to get grabs during this area here, because there's just so much cover that they're seemingly clinging to quite comfortably. That was another enemy that just dropped down over there. Also, that Acolyte shot did not hit. Hold on, the ricochets almost hit. Okay, it's a normal Assault Trooper. No grenades. Oh, you still got the grenade out. That's a problem. That's actually a big problem. Okay, and more enemies drop down, I think. Enemies that our squad mates have been helping to take care of, but it is a little awkward. The areas that have cover, the areas that don't, the angles from which we can see them, the areas from which we cannot. Like, here, we're kind of far back at the moment, but okay, I mean, I suppose we try to target you. And we probably should be singularitying you, to be honest. Stop running, Nemesis! There we go. Okay, down you go. That should be the end of you, but we still see there at least a couple more enemies. Maybe we wait for them to come to us, because we're in cover. Are they even moving? I think they might be. Do you see anything at all up there? Is there anything at all up there? I don't think so. Moving ever so slightly, but I think we probably do need to progress here.
Will do.
Doing it now.
Oh, Edie can see them through the wall? Question mark? She doesn't really have the cover penetration, but Garrus does. They're chucking grenades at us? Ah, okay. I can kind of see you. Actually curious. We get really clever. Can we hit you with that? We cannot hit you with that. We can tell Garrus to shoot at you, though, but he does not quite have enough cover penetration to make that work. But he, from that angle, is probably shooting through 2 separate instances of cover. This could be an interesting time to test his ability to shoot through cover, though, like right now.
On the double.
Because that did hit. He killed one of them. Pretty sure this is another Centurion. It is right on the opposite side of us right now. What if we just tell our squad mates to go straight at them? And immediately get rid of said Centurion? Alright.
Was ugly. They're wasting a lot of troops trying to stop us.
Their intention is to delay us, not stop us. Engineers are currently preparing an organized defense ahead.
Oh.
They can waste that many troops?
Yes, Cerberus employs Reaper augmentation on captured civilians to create functional shock troops quickly.
Oh.
Like the Reapers did with the Collectors, turning victims into shock troops.
Yeah, so Cerberus is converting average civilians into soldiers by using alien robot Reaper technology implanted into them to functionally mind control or, convince them against their will to fight on Cerberus' side, basically like the Cerberus equivalent of indoctrination, right? So that's not a good look. At the moment, it does seem quiet down here. Might be an opportunity. Oh, this would have been a nice little area to hang out in. But, might be a bit of an opportunity to see if there's any loot. This was the area where the Centurions were before, and Garrus was shooting them from, like, right there. So, he was able to shoot through, like, this. But if he had to shoot through one of those tubes, or several of those tubes, depending on the angle, then that was the difference between him having enough cover penetration with his gunfire and not having enough cover penetration, so just had to be mindful of where exactly we positioned him. Yeah, I feel like there should be something in here, loot-wise, but alas, I've not seen anything. I missed something that was blatantly obvious. Ammo. We don't need. Maybe that's all. Maybe that's all. Alright. Let us proceed in that case. And ideally not decide to stick to every single piece of cover. Okay. So I assume that means up we go. Oh, I recognize this music.
Shepard, that console has not been fully scrubbed. It contains data you may find interesting.
What am I looking at?
Project Lazarus, your reconstruction.
Oh! Because, of course, remember, Cerberus did bring us back to life in Mass Effect 2. So I suppose it might be interesting to learn a little bit more about the inner workings of Project Lazarus, the project that was the thing that brought us back to life.
It can't be done. It's not a matter of resources.
It's always a matter of resources. We're not losing Shepard.
Sir, Shepard is clinically brain dead. After that much trauma, that long with no oxygen, we cannot overcome nature.
Operative Lawson disagrees. She is now in charge of Project Lazarus.
I didn't realize it was that bad.
Pretty stark. You okay?
So we were well and truly done and dusted. Really, really dead. Not kinda dead, not sorta dead, not partially dead, dead. And Cerberus still somehow found a way to bring us back, even when, as that scientist just said, there really did not seem like that was going to be any way possible for them to resurrect us. Just completely defying nature like that. But, I suppose the Elusive Man said, alright then, you don't believe in what we're trying to do here? You're fired. We're bringing in someone else who does believe in our objective, and that's how Miranda became the leader of Project Lazarus, and of course, the rest is history.
I'm still me. I doubt I'd have been able to turn against Cerberus otherwise. I don't remember anything. Maybe they really just fixed me, or maybe I'm just a high-tech VI that thinks it's Commander Shepard. Well, I don't know.
Be surprising if it didn't mess you up a little.
I mean, Garrus is probably right as well. But okay, let's move on to the second entry then.
Tissue regeneration is proceeding. The helmet kept the brain intact for whatever good that will do.
Lawson will find a way.
Sir, Shepard's an Alliance soldier. As far as he knows, we're a terrorist organization.
True.
Shepard's a soldier. He knows the Reapers are the real threat. He'll work with us.
He really had you boxed in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wait, I'm not totally sure what we're saying we're wrong in response to.
Every instinct I had told me not to trust Cerberus. But I needed their help. So I played along.
You did what you had to, Shepard. And I was there with you.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, for much of Mass Effect 2, of course, we were employed by / at least affiliated with Cerberus. And for entry number 3.
Project Lazarus is reporting neurological activity. They're requesting more funding.
Granted. Get me our potential recruits file. Shepard will be up soon. We need a crew.
Our existing forces should be more than sufficient.
No. We need sympathetic faces. I need Shepard invested. Tap Kelly Chambers and recruit Donnelly. I imagine Miss Daniels will follow. We'll want some old friends as well. Contact Dr. Chakwas and send me the psych profile on Shepard's pilot, along with a bottle of 47 Thessia Red.
Sneaky little bastard. Use them to keep you from seeing the real Cerberus.
Yeah, so it sounds like the elusive man understood that our initial perception of Cerberus would be that they were an evil terrorist organization that we would never want to affiliate ourselves with, and therefore, even if they did resurrect us, we still would not cooperate. Unless the elusive man did any and everything he could to try to put friendly and familiar faces around us to give the perception that perhaps Cerberus was not quite as evil as we might have made it out to be. And for much of Mass Effect 2, I mean, we heard about the elusive man, and he was outspoken with his opinions, and we certainly did not necessarily agree with all of them, but at the end of the day, he did help us reunite with many of our old squad mates, make friends with new people who became some of our closest allies, and did assist us in our fight against the Collectors and, by extension, the Reapers. So, a mutually beneficial partnership of sorts, even if there was still a lot of tension in that relationship. And that it was perhaps only workable because the elusive man went in with the intention, making sure that he gave off the perception that Cerberus was not as bad as it really was, and therefore it was just barely palatable enough for Commander Shepard to work with them. And if we had seen their true colors in their entirety from the beginning, then perhaps it would have not worked at all.
How's that door coming, Edie?
We are clear to proceed.
Okay, so, clear to proceed. There's Sarah's Council Greaves. So, some boots. Which, well, we don't really have the time or interest in equipping those right now. So, this is the door she just unlocked, I believe?
Incursion team, what's your status?
We've cleared the hangar and are inside the base.
Indeed.
Good work. Do you need support?
It'd be nice.
Negative. Keep the heat on. We'll find what we need.
Apparently we don't need support. We're good. Don't worry about us, we'll be fine. We'll totally be fine, right? Okay. Why don't we save? Signs of enemies, question mark? Not at the moment. We heard Edie mention a whole bunch of engineers and turrets, but we've not yet seen much in the way of engineers and turrets. So I can't help but feel like that is probably a future that awaits us. Not so distant future at that. Someone is with us. Edie is with us. Garrus is lagging behind. Make sure Garrus catches up. C is, of course, the one that is back in the big punch in terms of damage. Come on, Garrus. Come on, man. Let's get go. Alright, that'll do. Never mind, I suppose that'll just have to do.
All personnel.
Oh.
Hull integrity may be compromised.
I think we found them. I think we probably found them. There's a shield pylon, which will, of course, give them more shields. So we're probably looking to take that out. But just looking at our mini-map here in the bottom right corner, there's probably additional enemies right next to it. There's a combat engineer here that is trying to set up a turret. Let's prevent him from doing so. Excuse me, sir. He's immune to damage. He's immune to damage at the beginning, it seems. He will automatically set up that turret. Because, what we just did normally would stop an engineer from setting up a turret. We did everything right, I'm afraid. But it appears as though, I'm afraid that that engineer has what is sometimes referred to as plot armor. That is not the turret that was shooting there, that was Garrus. Although he does look a bit like a turret sometimes, the rate at which he fires. There's a grenade over there. But, oh, I was gonna say that it looked like we got rid of the first wave of enemies, then I paused here and looked at the map and saw that I'm afraid not. Are they moving in on us? Or are they just chilling? They appear to have taken notice of us. So they're chatting. I'd like to hop over this, please. I cannot hop over this. I cannot hop over this. Never mind, I will not hop over this. Oh, there's a shield pylon over there, and we can actually see them a little bit through that area. Okay, Edie, you're kind of taking what would likely be the best spot for Garrus, if I'm being honest, unless we want to put Garrus right there where he has... oh, okay, that... my depth perception failed me a little bit there, but yeah. That is still the spot where we're looking to put Garrus. Just casually body block him, so that he doesn't get hit by the grenade, and then we'll have him go. Like his little waddle. As he sidestepping there, that was definitely the sound of a grenade. Or rather, a turret. That is also definitely the sound of a turret. That is also a grenade. That, once again, they hit the roof with the grenade. Okay, generator is potentially worth overloading. If Garrus hadn't just destroyed it, which I think he did. Ooh. I doubt we can hit you through here. But I am kind of tempted to try. We did, I think. The Acolyte, no less. Kind of silly, but... it's making it through. Obviously, we don't have much ability to aim through that, but it's something. I hear another grenade. Can we, out of curiosity, do that? We can. I have no idea if that hit anything. But an attempt was made. Okay. So there were a lot of turrets. Are there any more? What is Edie shooting at? That is an engineer, which is, of course, capable of creating turrets. So that is a little alarming. Okay, I still hear and see on our minimap several enemies, but yeah, there's definitely still more. We've also gotten a lot of grenades, which would have been an issue. I'm just gonna walk into this. You are gonna walk straight into that singularity. It's a bit expired right as I was about to detonate it. That's rather unfortunate. We'll just use the throw. Okay. So yeah, the grenades, of course, can prove to be difficult. That is definitely the sound of a turret getting set up. You still got that grenade off. This displeases me. That. Please don't switch our perspective. Okay. Once again, for whatever reason, Edie keeps on trying to take point, which is just weird. Because, Garrus is just way better at that than she is. It's a little bit odd. Where is this grenade coming from? Now, I'm going to proceed to take the spot that Garrus should probably be taking. Thought I heard the grenade sound again. Garrus, I appreciate the effort, but you're not really in the cover. But I mean, like, you do you, man. If you're gonna kill them, if it works, I suppose I can't complain. Okay, there's an engineer. Not sure we actually hit him with the overload, but I think Garrus finished him off. There's still a turret in this corner over here, and I think a Centurion is the thing that's throwing out those cluster grenades at us. Okay, yeah, there's Centurion, there's turret. Can loop that around the corner to hit you, and then detonate you with a throw. There we go. Now we mean business. Okay, Centurion, Still has shields. It's not ideal. But with no more turret, it should make advancing here a little bit safer. And, okay, it's the Centurions who've been throwing those grenades at us. That one. I had assumed that it was a normal trooper. Stop dodging my warps, dude. Stop throwing the smoke grenades. Ooh, 2 for 1. He's still alive. He is no longer still alive. There's a shield pylon over here somewhere, I think, which was, yeah, giving them additional shields even after we had started to singularity them, which is why usually you cannot singularity an enemy that has shields, but we singularity them when they did not have shields, and when they were already ragdolled, regained them. Okay, there's the shield generator as well. Not sure if there's anything else in here, though. By the looks of things, we may be good to carry on. Save again, because that, I mean, as long as we were cautious around corners and not running straight into an area that had turrets in it, we were fine. But of course, if you're a little more aggressive there, then you might find yourself with a nasty little welcoming party of a whole bunch of turret bullets headed your way. So, okay.
I will bypass the lock. If you were interested, the console nearby is still functional.
Okay. Cerberus video log. ED heading in over there. There's a whole lot of blood over here. So that's lovely decor. Lovely Cerberus decor. Let's see what the deal is here, though. Okay, so it's another set of logs. Oh, and ED is no longer hacking the door. Might not have even needed her to hack that door. So we don't really know what this one is about. So let's just start at entry number 1, then 2, then 3. And once again, kind of, sort of, the Elusive Man's theme here. Almost.
Here's what we recovered. Smart enough to signal for help, but it won't be talking philosophy anytime soon.
You'd be surprised, Doctor. Once we combine it with the pieces we recovered from the Citadel.
I'm still concerned about that. This rogue VI wiped out every soldier on Luna. Combining it with Reap Attack, well...
What?
That's what the shackles are for. The enhanced defense intelligence will be completely under control.
Okay. So a whole lot of stuff there. Some of which you might have missed. The AI from the Citadel, I'm not actually or no. There was an AI that we encountered on the Citadel in Mass Effect 1, but I don't think that's exactly what that's referring to. What it was referring to was an AI on Luna, aka the Earth Moon. And you may remember a mission on Earth's moon in Mass Effect 1, in which we encountered a rogue AI, or might have initially assumed it was a VI, only to later learn that it was in fact, or might have initially assumed it was VI, only to later learn that it was actually an AI. And it put up quite the fight. It launched a whole bunch of hacked drones at us, and even turrets on the outside of the base firing at us when it was supposed to be, I believe originally, supposed to be an Alliance facility? I assume it's supposed to be an Alliance facility since it was on the moon. But no, it was a Cerberus-created AI, and Enhanced Defense Intelligence is the name of it. Does that ring a bell? Do those words start with any particular letters that catch your attention? Perhaps? Maybe something along those lines? Edie indeed. Edie indeed. So I might have. This might be one thing that I technically spoiled preemptively, because I didn't remember how explicitly it was stated in the game. But yes, the AI that we encountered in Mass Effect 1 on Luna was in fact Edie. So at least by the sound of things here, based on what the Elusive Man just said, so I suppose why not ask Edie directly? How's it going, Tactical Rock? Good to see you. I'm doing all right. We are looking to hopefully finish up the entire trilogy today, so that has me really excited.
You were that rogue VI on Luna?
Yes,
Guess we didn't exactly get off on the right foot.
No, not
it was
exactly.
difficult. Gaining awareness while under attack was confusing. I am pleased that my relationship with organics has become more cooperative.
That's one way to put it. Yeah. Okay. So the first entry was about EDI. Are we gonna perhaps learn more about EDI now?
Our sims indicate that the enhanced defense intelligence gives the highest combat improvement on frigates. Anything heavier, and the ships react too slowly to benefit from EDI's advice.
EDI?
Oh, that's, well, the boys in the lab came up with a name for her.
For it. Good work. I'll take your recommendations on planned installation.
Sir, it can be very persuasive. If it were to turn a crewman, convince them to disable the shackles, well...
It's a cyber warfare suite, Doctor. Nothing more.
So we heard in the first log, other thing that I forgot to mention, we heard that Reaper tech was included in the development process. So that's already should raise some pretty big red flags, right? Not to mention the fact that AIs are illegal in the first place. But now we hear, in case you didn't catch it in the first part, yes, they refer to the enhanced defense interface as EDI, so blatantly obvious at that point, even if you didn't ask her directly. And interesting to see that the Elusive Man insists on referring to EDI as it, not her, since the Elusive Man and Cerberus, on the whole, are all about humanity above everything else, and his war against the Reapers, of course, is a war between organics and synthetics, humans and Reapers, and so to him, it's like, hold on there. We are, let's make this very clear. We did not just create a robot AI only for it to become all human-like. Let's make that line between organics and synthetics very obvious, very clear. We're not gonna refer to EDI as a she. But of course, it was, for that reason, a little dehumanizing, trying to say that EDI was just for cyber warfare purposes and worked best on a frigate, which I assume, I'm pretty sure is the type of ship that the Normandy is, so naturally made sense for EDI to go on the Normandy. But as we have obviously seen in Mass Effect 3 in particular, EDI has come to grow into much more than just a simple AI. I mean, simple and AI perhaps inherently is an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. More than just a computer program on a spaceship. And now it's become one of our closest allies. And obviously the other thing is that the whole warning of like, well, what if somebody unshackled her? And that's exactly what we did at the end of Mass Effect 2 with Joker. So, alas, she has been fully unleashed.
Shows what he knew.
It is unlikely that anyone without Jeff's extreme emotional attachment to his ship would have been willing to unshackle me.
I don't know. With that voice?
Trainer? Is that what he's getting at? I mean, we heard what in the Citadel DLC, was it, that Trainer was a big fan of EDI's voice, but I mean, if you didn't do the Citadel DLC, then you wouldn't have known that I'm pretty sure is supposed to be a reference to that. Alright, but third and final.
What about the backups?
I'm sorry, sir. None of Normandy's surveillance feeds have been responding since Shepard went rogue.
I want it back. Retry the remote lockdown protocols.
After our last attempt, EDI flooded our server with 7 zettabytes of explicit images.
EDI?
I think she was making a joke.
It doesn't make jokes, Doctor. Allocate a team for a new project. Codename Eva. This time we'll ensure it stays loyal.
So it sounds like once Shepard broke off and went rogue, which I'm actually kind of curious when the Elusive Man would have made that determination, but he tried to do something to basically just completely shut down the Normandy to stop us in our tracks, but with EDI hooked up and being the operating system of the Normandy, she was able to fend off that Cerberus attempt, and then they created Eva, who was the person that we initially thought was a human scientist that we met on Mars at the beginning of Mass Effect 3, only to later realize that she was in fact actually a robot, and we chased her down. She was the one that, of course, slammed Ashley's noggin into a wall repeatedly and nearly killed her. Then we took her out and thought that she was, / it, was completely destroyed, but put it back in the Normandy, and later, once we, completed the Palaven mission, that is when we saw that Edie assumed control of what was previously Eva's body, and now we have the Edie that we have come to know and call a squad mate. Does Trainer mention that she loves Edie's voice right off the bat? Or is that only in the Citadel DLC? Because I suppose in that case, then, you know, because I mean, there certainly were, since the Citadel DLC was DLC initially, obviously there were people who didn't play it in the first iteration of the game, pre-Legendary Edition, so it would seem a little bit odd if that mention, which is in the base game on a main mission, was referring to something that many people may not have realized was a reference at all.
You never told me about Cerberus trying to shut down the Normandy.
You had more pressing issues. The situation was under control.
7 zettabytes?
That's a lot.
Most of it was Jeff's. That was...
A joke. I know. And thank you.
Okay, well, that's everything. So, yes, learned a whole lot more about Edie in that case. The origin confirmed that, and learned more of the Cerberus perspective of how they reacted once they saw what Edie was capable of doing. But there we go. It does appear to be the last of the things over here. Why don't we... I mean, I know we haven't fought anyone since we last saved, but... Oh, that's a shield pylon from down below us? That's... I mean, that's awfully nice. I didn't even realize that was possible, but... It's like, where is that coming?
Security lock. I can bypass it.
Incursion team, are you still with us? We're limiting fire as best we can.
Admiral, we're in deep and the Prothean VI will be in the safest part of the station. Don't hold back.
This isn't Elysium, Shepard. I don't need a hero.
I'll be fine. Just take Cerberus down. Please.
Understood, Commander. All ships, you're free to fire.
Okay. Got a little bit of monies. There's a medical station over here as well that we technically don't need. We are on max gels. So, I mean, I don't know what the probability of us coming back here will be, but we also don't need the experience, so we don't need it at all right now, and maybe we save it. Or if/when we come back, if we can. We're in desperate need. But alas, the door is closed behind us. Oh no, it's still openable, it would appear. Speaking of which, it would be nice to have our squad mates here with us. And we can start to hear what sounds like the gunfire outside. Lid, space is silent. Okay, look, yes, you're right, but... which the choice in 2 played more of a role? In terms of, like, the final choice with the collector base? Or just, like, your general interactions with Cerberus? Your attitude toward the elusive man? Or metagels? It sounded like the music was picking up there, which made me think that perhaps we were approaching a, enemies, but that's more armor unlocked, so I suppose that's cool. Alright, so... been a long time without enemies, which is...
That'd be a generator. Looks like the 5th Fleet's coming through.
All right.
Putting me off a little bit here. The lack of resistance. Then the music changes every once in a while. I'm like, oh, maybe this is the enemies coming after us, but obviously there's this video log we'll probably want to check out as well. Okay, so let's see what the deal is here. First entry. What is this about? It's Kai Lang.
Holding up.
I'm fine. Ready for action.
Your eagerness is commendable, but the cybernetics take time to get used to, believe me. You really do remind me of Shepard.
Shepard betrayed you.
Shepard was always going to stay true to his beliefs. He's wrong, but I can respect his decision. Finish your therapy and put together a plan for the Citadel. Counselor Udina is amenable.
Yes, sir.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I wish the collector base had a bit more of an impact. Well, there we see Kai Lang 1 has cybernetics, which, I mean, perhaps we could have assumed that was the case based on what we saw before, but I'm not sure we ever had confirmation of that fact. And other than that, the little bit of background info about supposedly, a little more info about Counselor Udina being amenable to a whole negotiation with Cerberus, and of course we saw what came of that with the Cerberus coup attempt on the Citadel, and that is what appears to be the operation that Kai Lang was preparing for just then. So what about entry number 2 in that case?
I could have taken him.
Absolutely. But the Council was your priority, not Shepard.
Because of him, the Council is still in power.
Shepard is keeping the Reapers occupied while our research progresses. But as it happens, I believe you'll find your chance for a rematch. Head to Thessia. Shepard will be there soon, and I want you waiting.
And of course, we did in fact encounter Kai Lang. For the first time, we actually fought him on Thessia, and he claimed that he emerged victorious, despite us absolutely obliterating him, and I'm pretty sure did not deal a single point of damage to us. But alas, he nonetheless did escape with the object they were there to retrieve, the Prothean VI.
Here it is.
Excellent. The Prothean VI should enable us to determine the nature of the catalyst. Combined with the breakthrough in Sanctuary, we have everything we need. We just need to tie up a few loose ends.
Like Shepard, he should have died on Thessia. Should I finish him?
No. I'm not writing Shepard off as a total loss just yet. For now, Sanctuary gave us a proof of concept for controlling the Reapers.
And made it a target. Miranda Lawson.
Get the data from Sanctuary. If Miranda gets in your way, deal with her.
It will be a pleasure, sir.
Okay, so background in that case for Sanctuary, where of course we saw that Cerberus has been researching ways to control the Reapers and actually transforming humans into Reaper-like creatures, where they've basically been able to transform humans into husks and then manipulate those husks using their, it's basically indoctrination, let's be honest. Yeah, and he still used a gunship, right, to escape from us and failed to take us out, so... And then he tried to make it sound like he was victorious, then he even sent us an email trying to badmouth us, but like I said, I'm pretty sure that he quite literally did not even touch us. So, think we know who really won. Yeah, they're obviously the Elusive Man saying that they had their proof of concept from Sanctuary, because it seems as though their overarching strategy here is no longer to just fight the Reapers, but rather to control the Reapers. We heard the Elusive Man say something along those lines when we had that hologram conversation with him on Thessia, but obviously Sanctuary took it a step further, and so they're, it seems like, trying to create an army of Reapers, and that way they can do whatever the heck they want with that huge army. But it's still, one thing that I think bears some reminding is that on that mission in Sanctuary, on Horizon, the elusive man, I believe it was, had said, or maybe it was Henry Lawson, Miranda's father, had said how, yes, they tested out their Reaper controlling methods on these Reaper-fied humans, the pseudo-husks that they created. However, remember that those were technically not actual husks. They were very similar, but not identical. So for that reason, there's a chance that this controlling technology may not work on the actual thing, because they actually haven't tested that. And the other thing is that I think they also mentioned that they were a little concerned that it's one thing to mind control a husk, the generally weakest, most simple of all the Reaper forces. However, to control a cannibal, a marauder, a ravager, a brute, a banshee, a harvester, a destroyer, a capital ship? Totally different. Or at least they suspected that they may need to make some adjustments, make some improvements before they are ready to mind control the bigger stuff. And so that's another reason to be a little skeptical about their plan, is that it's one thing to have some success with your experiments on a not exact copy of the weakest unit in your enemy's army, but to mind control the actual thing is another thing. To mind control all the enemies that are significantly more powerful than those husks, totally different story. So they really haven't tested that, so we don't know if that's going to be even remotely successful. But either way, it sounds like the elusive man, he's pretty convinced. Either way, he is pretty darn convinced. Alright, and once again, why don't we just save here, despite us not having fought anything in between. That's just some important lore that we have now figured out. And we go through here? Through the fire and flames? Because this door doesn't want to open for us. Oh. No, that's where we came from. No, we go this way. It would appear. No, this is where we... Huh? Huh? Or is the way down over here? I mean, the quest indicator seemed to suggest that we're looking to go in this direction. Huh? So like a ladder over there? Yes.